And I'll try to get a London, and I'm gonna go second move bishop to f4 and then e3. He plays e6, gonna be playing knight f3. He does go a6, which is a little bit strange. It's not a move that you necessarily need in the structure. Gonna be playing bishop d3. Gonna be playing c3, preparing to meet c4 with bishop c2. And now we could castle, but I really like going knight e5 and delaying that. Just gonna go like h4. Or actually, you know, he's threatening to take and then play knight e4. So I'm gonna play queen f3 with the idea that I'm controlling the e4 square. And now I'm gonna be playing h4. He does go h6, and I think I'll just try to do like a useful move such as rook d1. Because if he castles, I'm just gonna go g4, g5, and on this is a very bad move because I can just play bishop b1 and he has no threats in the center. He just released the tension in my favor. So you could break with e4, but this is open up his pieces, so it doesn't make sense, and it's just better to play g4, g5, and we can go for this because my rook will be defended by my own queen on f3, which is really nice, and he also is unable to jump on e4 because we can just take twice. He does find knight a4, which I actually completely forgot about, and might be just good for him, but I think we are a bit faster though because we're attacking the knight. So his knight a4 idea was clever, might just not be quick enough. His knight is under attack. Knight g8 is losing to queen h8 or queen h7. I'll have to check. Probably queen h8, king f8, bishop h7 will win. And knight e4, I think we can at least take once and then go rook d2 defend. Or, you know, we can take, go queen h8. There are like so many things that seem to win now. I can take twice on e4, he takes on b2, there is queen c6, king f8. You know what, I think I actually like queen h7 in this position. So I think I'll take once and then I'm gonna play. I could go queen h8, but this is kind of forcing his bishop in there. So I'm gonna go this first, hitting the pawn. He has to play g6, but then I can play queen h7 and there's no way for him to defend. So I think this is actually pretty clever. There's literally no way for him to defend against f7, and this just turns out to be a disaster because he has to move the queen and his king will start jogging basically. So yeah, I'm gonna be taking on f7. The king has to go to a walk, and that is definitely good news for me. I don't think this is savable at this point, but he can try. Just gonna take king d8 only move. I can take on g6. I think that's like the simplest move and probably the only one as well. I'm obviously taking with a queen if I can. If he goes bishop d6, we can at least trade and then pick up the b7 bishop, so I think he's just doomed. He can maybe try perhaps queen d7, but on queen d7 I was going bishop e5 with the threat of taking and then going bishop f6, pinning the queen. And against this, as I was saying, I'm just gonna take and then take this. Rook is hanging and should be GG pretty soon. Just gonna go king e2 with the idea to... I'm actually gonna go to d2 with the idea to bring this rook. Bringing your all of your pieces into the game is definitely a crucial thing to do if you want to become a strong player. So that's what I'm doing here, trying to become a strong player. I'm gonna go rook h7, and this is easy now because we can collect his queen after he blocks. Then we can go for a lot of checkmates, so he just resigns. Okay, I think that was actually like a very instructive game, to be fair. And yeah, I mean, I don't really see where he could have potentially improved, to be honest. Like, his opening was just a bit inferior in my opinion. Like, if we go through the game, I think queen f3 is a good move, even though to be fair, I haven't really analyzed this position with an engine. I just feel like queen f3 is a very interesting plan for white, and after what he did, again, I really like this h4 idea. If he castles, then I think I was probably gonna do this, and if he plays that, I really had ideas to rook lift like this. Maybe it's not good. Maybe it's better to play like g4. Try this. I wasn't sure how I was going to proceed. I also considered going rook h3 in this position. To be fair, I think this definitely has a lot of potential for white, even though some weaker engines might not see it yet. I think this is definitely very dangerous. But he played this, and after rook d1, this was pretty much played with the idea that if he castles, I'm just waiting to deliver g4. I'm not playing g4, because if I play, then he's not gonna castle. It's pretty logical. Even though it was decent in this position as well, because I'm threatening to play g5. Rook d1 is not necessary, but he played c4, bishop b1, knight b6, and I just went g4. And after knight a4, I kind of freaked out a little bit, because I thought he takes on b2 and it's bad, but in fact our play is much quicker. And after knight e4, the key move to just get an instant win is what I did with queen h5. And this was really clever, because initially I wanted to go this check, but he can do this, and if I play queen g8, threatening to mate, he can just play queen e7, and we don't have like an obvious win. So then I found this queen h5 move, forcing g6 and queen h7, and now it's just like an easy way to win. Even cleaner would have been to play this. This is a pity. I haven't found this, and now then we collect the bishop. This would have been even cleaner. Yikes. But okay, I mean, after knight g6 is also completely winning. King d2 was nice, bringing the rook in, and then we mate. Okay, I think that was a good game. So we do get the white pieces. Gonna go d4, and gonna play bishop to f4. He plays with f5, which gets the stone wall set up. I'm gonna be playing h3, and in these positions I'm gonna be allowing him to double my pawns on onto f4. I'm gonna go bishop to d3, preparing to castle. Gonna be castling next. If he takes, I take. Goes knight d7. Is he preparing e5? I cannot doubt it. Kinda doubt that he's preparing e5. Should I go knight e5? He takes with the bishop, plays knight e4. I think I'm just gonna be playing c4. Idea is to go c5 next. I don't think he can break with e5 in good conditions, and the idea is to play c5, and if he takes, I take. I play rook e1, then I expand. So he just takes. I can play rook e1, target this next. Goes knight e4. I can go knight e5 myself. I think I'm gonna go for it. If he takes, I think we're taking with the f pawn and doubling. Does play knight f6, but now it's a pretty funny situation, because I can play rook e1. If he takes, I take, and then we have ideas to kick this knight with f3. So yeah, here's pretty much like the big difference, because the square on e5 is very weak, and the square on e4 is actually defended, and he does just give me a free piece for some reason. I think he forgot to take on d2 first, and this is obviously now completely winning for me with the dominant knight and queen coming into a4. But yeah, it's still gonna be interesting to see how I'm converting it, I guess. I'm gonna be playing c5. Idea is to rook lift next, and this does look very much winning. Gonna be bringing the rook into the game. Rook is coming into a3. Not even considering to take and open up the file for any counterplay. Now we can give up the bishop, opening up some lines against his king, and yeah, this is a pretty standard way to kind of finish these games. I'm gonna be taking with a pawn, and then we can just take with a queen, and it does look completely winning. If he does not take, I might take on b7 myself. And now rook b3 is a huge threat, and we're actually gonna take with the a pawn so we can open up the file for the other rook. Has to play rook d7, but we're gonna take the queen, and yeah. Oh, we take with a pawn, and now this is a threat. Hey, and he resigns. Okay, so I guess it would have been more instructive if in this position my opponent would have taken on d2 after f3, but I can take with a queen, and I have a beautiful bishop here. He has a bad bishop on d7. I have a beautiful knight here, and this knight does not really have like a good square to reach, and pretty much the plan would be to just go c5, b4, a4, b5, take on c6 eventually. I will open up the b file, rook might infiltrate, queen could also like come via a5, and I could also combine it with plans if he goes castle with g4. So when they take, we take with the h pawn, keeping control of this square. So this is still definitely very good for us, and white is just much better in this type of lines against the stone wall. So I think that's a pretty good overview of how the game could potentially go. I'm gonna go d4, and we do end up facing the b6. I could go e4, try to like punish him early, but we're gonna be playing in the kind of typical London fashion, and yeah, we'll just try to go for the positional kind of stuff. I'm gonna go bishop h2 because it's useful move anyways. Gonna push a4, see if he wants to block me. Okay, if he allows us, we're gonna push a5, and we're gonna go even deeper with a6 if he allows it. And on bishop c6, I could play c4 idea to trap this with d5. I think I like it. I'm gonna play it. If he takes on d4, I can take with a knight as well, hitting the bishop. And if bishop e4, we might just play f3, and the bishop is kind of trapped. Funnily enough, he can play bishop f5. We can take it. He has a lot of weaknesses. f3 might be taking on b1 the issue, so I'm gonna play knight c3 first, and now f3 is actually like a big threat. c5 is never really a good move because we can go knight b5, and then we collect the d6 pawn, and he's just in big trouble right now. And just look how easy the setup really is to play. That is a fine idea with the idea to play bishop a8, but how about we go there? This is a threat now. How is he gonna defend the a7 pawn? Is he gonna go rook back? We're gonna play f3 then. If he goes to like c6, then knight d4 will trap the bishop. And f3, bishop f5, maybe that is his argument. Maybe we can play g4 in that instance. It's not a good move because he has g5, but well, I like to consider this kind of funny looking moves. So f3, bishop there. I can go e4, he plays bishop e6. I don't like it, so I have a different plan. I'm gonna go there, and on rook c8 I'm gonna be using the other knight to b5. Is he gonna repeat? I don't think so. He plays c5, but this is a very bad move, because now we end up winning d6. So e4 I was trying to draw, but in fact my plan was to play the other knight into b5 when he plays rook c8, so we can play f3, and on bishop there we can take it. Plays d5, but we can first of all just take the free pawn. Second of all, go for knight c7, winning the exchange. I think we'll just take the free pawn because this option does not really fade away. We can play it on like the next move, I believe. He could maybe go knight e5 trying to stop it. Yeah, I might have missed that or slightly underestimated. If I go f3, he will play bishop f5, or maybe take on d5 in fact. So I'm just gonna play d6. Idea is to go there next. I'm not seeing a good way for him to defend. He plays bishop there. I'm just gonna play the fork, hitting both rooks, and I'm gonna collect the knight in fact, threatening to take this later. Plays rook c8. I think we can just trade a pair of bishops with bishop f3, and bringing the rook into the game next. This knight is under a serious amount of pressure. Plays knight e8. I can take here first and then take on e8. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking there. I'm gonna be bringing the rook into the game. d7 is now a big threat. Yeah, I think can play anything at this point really, but I want to be quite precise, and I'm thinking knight e4. Okay, I'm just gonna be bringing my pieces into the game. I don't think this is the moment to look for the first win yet. Yeah, let's just push. Push him, baby. Knight's coming into f6 next. Rook will be now trapped. Yeah, rook is trapped. He has no squares to move the rook, and yeah. We're just gonna take it. Takes with a queen, gonna be bringing our queen into the attack now. We can play e6 because queen takes up. Now we'll blunder the rook, and now we end up taking g6 and opening lines to checkmate my opponent. Gonna take on h5. He has to block with a queen. I'm gonna play like queen f6 first, and then mate him with rook g5, so he resigns. And I actually think that was a pretty clean game. And keep in mind this idea, guys, that constantly you can throw in your a pawn, and your opponent should be reacting either with a6 or with a5, because when they allow you to grab space with a5, just see how unpleasant it is once we get in a6. And I think c4 was best, threatening to go d5 and trap the bishop. And now the main idea was that here I went for this move, which was bad, but then my second idea was if he defends, I want to play this move. And now if he defends, I'm going to be playing f3, and if the bishop goes there, we can actually play knight c6 as well, and his queen is kind of trapped almost, which is pretty funny. Taking this is also very juicy. Going e4 is strong as well. Like, there are so many good moves. Like, I would have probably gone for something softer like this and then knight d4, but at this point you can go f3 and then knight c6, and if queen goes there, you can just take here, and black has to give up the exchange because the queen has no squares, and after they do this, we can get our knight out, and we have a pawn that is literally 2 squares away from promotion. So this would be completely winning for white. And in the game, once I went knight d4, he declined repetition, but okay, I'm completely winning. I took on d5, he went knight d5, and I played d6, which is completely winning. Apparently I went for the best line, and now after I captured the piece, it's pretty much a free game. And we might be facing the Slav setup, so I'm gonna be playing e3. He does go e6 though, goes for this triangle. Yeah, this is not really fury. I'll just try to develop my pieces normally. He plays with g6. This is strange. I really want to go for something aggressive, but I'm wondering whether I can play like positional for you guys. I'll try to play like positional. Just gonna castle. Gonna play with c4, and I'll try to expand on the queen side. Ooh, he goes b5. Gonna take that. And now the mission is to get to this square. I'm gonna play a4 first though. He does take, and now we do have a little bit of an objective to play for now on a6. Gonna drop my queen to like a3, keeping an eye on this diagonal. Plays knight e7, and I think I'm gonna be bringing the knight this way, heading towards c5. This is a big weakness. Gonna be getting my knight into c5. Pawn is gonna hang very soon. I have ideas to take on b8 and then collect the pawn. He's trying to read out the bishop, which is, I believe, a nice idea by my opponent, but I don't think it should save him at this point. Trying to come up with like a precise way. Thinking to bring the knight to d6. I think I'll just play b4, you know, just breaking this pin. Plays knight f5, and I can definitely take on b8, take on a6. Is that the kind of game that I want to play? I think maybe going b5 is even easier. The idea to take with a pawn. So this actually turned out to be more of an aggressive move than a prophylactical one. Gonna play queen c3, keeping an eye on this guy. Now the simple idea would be to kind of play rook a4, rook a1, and then collect. Question is whether he can do something about it or not. He can play queen b6, I'm thinking. But then I have at the very least knight a4 that looks really annoying. So I can take now. He's gonna be taking on c5. But in that position, I might go rook c1. I can also just start with this move, just like not even complicating. This pawn is still like not running anywhere. Could also go like b6 with b7 ideas. Man, this position is like so good. My opponent is literally doomed, strategically speaking. Plays knight d6. hitting this guy. But you know what? I can simply take. Could also take on d6 and then on a5, but I don't see a reason why we give up the bishop here, right? So I'll just take on a5. He does take. I took back with a queen. I am up a free pawn on b5. And yeah, the big threat might be to just play knight b3. Then if queen b7, my rook can infiltrate. So he plays knight f5, but now this really runs into knight b3. So I'm hitting his queen while also defending my rook. And the only move seems to be queen b7, because queen d8 was running into bishop c7. This runs into rook c7 though. And queen has no squares, and I literally managed to trap his queen, which is like really funny. Queen cannot go to the a file because my queen controls it, and yeah, this is just like a pretty brutal kind of outcome on the queen side. But yeah, this is how we deal with this type of lines where they overextend early in the game with this kind of b5 move. And yeah, we're just gonna be getting knight c5 next, and the position is easily winning. Just gonna play knight c5. Threat is to take on b8, and then the bishop drops. And if he takes, I'm gonna be getting two very juicy pawns. Idea is to play something like c6 next, or even knight e5 first. Another threat is to take and play queen c7. Yeah, I'm just gonna be using the second one. Now these two guys are hanging. Just make sure that there's no some kind of weird mate that we have to watch out for, but I can always play like bishop or sidestep. He takes on e3. Can just take. I mean, f1 square is controlled, so no reason to actually worry about any perpetual. I'll just give this check. It's just a cute way to pick up the rook and make him resign. Okay, I think that was a good game and pretty instructive outcome when this b5 move is played early on in the game. Like I did here, I took. So my idea was, after he takes, I wanted to play something like this, and assuming he'll play knight e7, I wanted to go like knight b3, and with the idea to infiltrate on c5 and maybe later on break with a4. But he took this way with a symmetrical structure, and a4 came even better. And the idea is, when they play b4, you can actually play either knight e2 and then knight to b3, or I was actually thinking to throw in a5 first, and then the idea is to get this knight into b3. Actually, in fact, maybe this might be even simpler. Get a knight to b3, and to be fair, I like even playing queen d2, and then this other rook is coming into the game, and then yeah, we're just gonna be using the c5 square, bishop's coming into b5, and this is just a disaster for black, strategically speaking. And we do get the white pieces, and we're gonna be going for the second move, bishop f4. We do face the knight tango again. I could play e3. I'm just gonna play like in the kind of normal London fashion, and we do get the two knights without c5, which I have a separate video on YouTube about. And I'm gonna be playing h3. And if they take on f3, I mean, you just take, you have the two bishops, and against this line it's actually very strong to play bishop b5. This is like the key move. And against a6, we're gonna be taking, and we're gonna be playing with c4, I believe. And if they take, I think we go knight b to d2 and then queen a4, making sure this is well protected, and then we go knight d2, yeah. And now we're gonna be playing this move, and we're gonna be taking his pawns one by one. So I think this is actually like one of the key lines. We're hitting this, we're hitting that. He's playing queen d5, I guess, but we can still just play rook c1. Just end up collecting his pawns. I think taking on c7 is definitely doable as well. It's just like there's no rush with that. And I think on bishop e7, I'll take on c7. On bishop d6, I don't know. I remember looking at this at some point. I think he can just take, he takes with a pawn. It's not really that logical to repair his pawn structure though. Okay, I think in fact we just play bishop g5. This might be the move. Or maybe not, because he plays this. But we can take. Okay, I know that is hanging, so we can take. He takes on f3 twice. I take on c6. Definitely not like the ideal scenario, but yeah, I mean, I kind of misplayed it a bit, so I have to go for that. Yeah, probably in this position, honestly speaking, I should just take on c7 and that's it. But I try to like remember some prep and I might have messed up the line. Just gonna take, I'm not afraid of this check because I can just play king e2. Okay, we can just recapture because we have the x-rays defending that. And okay, we just got like the what we've seen in the previous line, only that I do manage to keep the extra pawn, which is nice. Just gonna defend. Idea might be to play this next. Okay, he attacked my bishop, I have to defend. Also trying to get rid of the defender of the c7 pawn, and I'll just defend this guy. If he goes a5, I think I will just play king e2. In case of a4, I can just take it. Maybe rook c4 was decent as well, but I think this is like easier. He definitely has counterplay, not gonna lie. But I'm gonna do this. Gonna take back with a pawn. Okay, so we take, if I take, he takes on b3 first. So I'm gonna take there. He cannot take with the rook because I take and then I mate. So he has to, okay, if he takes on b3, actually take there. So I think we tricked him. So how do we play now? I don't have to take on d6. I kind of want to. Okay, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna be playing rook there. We're gonna trade a pair of rooks and then it's gonna be an easy win. Yeah, trading a pair of rooks. Keeping my pawn with rook c4 and then we just bring the king over. Yeah, bring the king over to b3. Yeah. We can just take there. Don't take this way because they might get some counterplay like that. But actually, in fact, wait, how is this? Okay, so we just take and then we block. He might still try it. Okay, funny guy. Okay, we're just winning with this, to be fair. If king f6, we just play f4. You're gonna be blocking it there. Important to block the pawn as far as you can. Now we just push. King cannot help, and yeah, we just push. Yeah, king. These guys are cooperating really nicely. King. a7, threatening to take this. Yeah, I can take. Because he has no check because my pawn is there. He cannot take because I queen, obviously. And there's no check because my pawn is in the way. So he might have blundered that. Still have to play quickly because he's really trying to flag me. Take my queen if you want it. He actually has no choice. Okay, and he resigns. And we do end up getting the win. So now I'm actually like really curious to check whether this was good or not. When I could have taken on c7. Like, this is pretty much the biggest worry that I have with this game. So I know, because I know I've looked this position up with the engine, and in fact I know rook c1 is fine, but looks like bishop c7 is better according to the chess.com engine. So I think maybe this was also my prep and also what I'm giving in the YouTube video, because I literally explained this position in my YouTube video. But yeah, I played this and I couldn't really remember. He played knight e4, which was a great move. He somehow is winning if he finds either f6 or h6. He didn't. And now he's still better if he takes on f3 and then he plays queen somewhere. Just don't go for the trade. But I think that the technique was actually pretty clean. Once we've got him. Once we've got him where we wanted him. I think the technique was actually really clean. Yeah. Then the rest was pretty much easy, but I mean, this was stupid because we got a big advantage from the opening and I could just take on c7 and it's win the c4 pawn next and we're literally up a free pawn for nothing. So yeah. Was there knight e5 when he played bishop d6? So I'm guessing you're talking about this position, and probably not because he takes on g2. Yeah, so I was thinking this position during the game and queen c4. But as I assumed, he can just castle and there's nothing. The trick is apparently to take with a knight, and you're somehow better because of this threat. So if they take, you can just go knight b6 apparently and you win. Which is pretty funny. Queen b5, trade queens, collect the exchange, and white is doing very well. Okay. And we end up facing another King's Indian type of setup, and I'll play the edge above London once again. I'm gonna be playing queen d2. He does play knight d7, which is kind of weird because I go bishop h6 and his king will be caught in the center and I can castle. He's wasting a lot of tempies. I can just castle. If knight g4, I can drop my queen to d2. So that is not an issue, and I can consider e5, but then maybe it just goes knight g4. So I'll start with f3 first, and then e5 is really a big threat. So I think he should be playing e5 himself, but I still think he will be much worse. Okay, now I'm really gonna go e5. He cannot take twice because queen will be hanging at the end of the line, and only move is kind of knight g8, but then I go this and that. And if he goes knight h5, I can trap the knight with g4. So that looks pretty solid to me. Gonna go g4, knight is trapped. I see no moves for my opponent. Yeah, gonna go bishop b5 next, I guess. Okay, bishop h3, I like even better now. Plays e6, I can go there, I can jump on e4 with a knight. I think I'm gonna jump with the idea that if he takes on e5, I can go for this double attack, hitting both the knight and the rook, and I'm winning one more piece. Plays rook f8. Gonna be collecting the knight of sixes. Next, I guess, gonna be queen f6, and I don't see like an immediate mate, so I will just bring this knight over, and then I can consider sacking. And this way I can actually sack now. So I can mate, and bishop d7 is huge threat as well. Yeah, this is just a checkmate now. GG.